Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes, and I am super excited to be here with you today. For the main reason is the fact that you're watching, investing time into yourself, which is what we're all about, folks. Self-care and learning what you yourself can do to help yourself. As we look at a holistic approach that includes nutrition and lifestyle factors that affect our insides and our outsides, all as one unique, divinely created being. And today we have Pharmacist Fridays here on Daily with Doc and Becca. I just love Pharmacist Fridays because we have Pharmacist Ben Fuchs with us, and he holds a Bachelor's of Science actually a Bachelor's of Arts, BA, in broadcast journalism from Syracuse University. He has a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy from the University of Colorado, and he is a compound pharmacist. His expertise includes compounding custom medications, specializing in healthcare or skin health, formulating nutritional products, and consulting with doctors and patients. So he graduated from pharmacy school in 1982. He's been practicing for over 40 years and also has his own meditation practice. Is that correct? I don't know if that one's correct.
Meditation? So, I like to meditate.
No, we do meditate, yes, but he does have his own pharmacy. And folks, he has been lecturing since 1991 nationwide on a strategic use of nutritional supplementation for healthy skin and bodies. He's written hundreds of articles, recorded hundreds of short videos and radio spots, and he is a regular speaker on Coast to Coast with George Norrie. So since 2013,
I'm old. I'm not that old.
So in 2013, he was on the Longevity Advisory Board for a few years, and he specializes again in nutritional supplementation, where healthcare practitioners rely on toxic pharmaceutical drugs. His approach views the human body as a healing and regenerating system designed to renew itself continually with the right raw ingredients. So, folks, if your body has got some stuff going on and the pharmaceutical industry may not be helping you, or you don't even want to look at that approach, you want to look at a more natural approach, you are in the right place, as that's what we do here on Daily with Doc and Becca. We focus on what we can do feeding the body rather than chemicals that then suppress the body's ability to do what it has been designed to do. And maybe not even suppress in some cases, depending on what the pharmaceutical is. So, folks, if you were invited by somebody specific, make sure that you get back with them, as they cared enough about you to share this program with you. Care enough about them to say thank you. And if you have any questions, they are going to be your point of contact. Now, if you found us on your own and you would like to speak with a certified holistic health coach, you may do so by giving our call team a call at 855-949-3377. 7. Now, my name is Becca Dukes. I'm the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health. I am the producer of the Daily with Doc and Becca show, and a certified holistic health coach myself, and a certified naturopathic practitioner. I am all about helping people get information so that they can be their own health authority in choosing options that they may not hear, because we're providing additional options that you may not hear in a standard medical environment. So without further ado, today we are going to be having questions and answers with Pharmacist Ben. So Pharmacist Ben, hello and welcome.
Hi
Pharmacist
there.
Grace.
Hi there. Let me make my camera a little. Hi there. Nice to see
Hey.
you.
Nice to see you too. It feels like it's been forever, but I think it was just last week.
Were you on last week? You've been away.
No, I was not on last week.
You were not on last week.
That's right.
We've been without you for a while, but it's nice to see you again. You look beautiful as always. Radiant.
Thank you.
Finally. And I think it's a great
you.
idea that we take questions, because I always feel guilty pontificating for 15 minutes and then rushing through 5 or 10 minutes of questions. So today it's all about you. You, not you, but you.
Yes. Not me.
Not you.
But you as individuals watching us.
I want to give a special welcome to my friend Nancy.
So,
I think Nancy's on. My new friend Nancy. Hi, Nancy. I think you're on.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining.
Fantastic. We do have a room full of people, and I know that we have people watching us out on Rumble and YouTube and Brighteon and Truth and Apple TV, Roku. I mean, we're just everywhere, Ben.
We are. I love that.
And I think that's fantastic.
Yep. Thanks to you, Jay, and Ruth Ellen and Albert and all you guys. You're doing a great job publicizing and getting us out there. Who else? Who did I miss?
We are very
Phyllis is not here.
Not today, but she will be back. But yeah, we are super blessed to be able to have so many people sharing the message, including those of you who are watching us. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, any of those, you can share this message. So as you're listening and you think you hear something that makes you think of somebody else, make sure that you are sharing this message with them. So also subscribe. Take a moment to subscribe. Go to our website, DailywithDoc.com. Subscribe for our newsletter. This is available to anybody and everybody, so that you don't miss out on our broadcasts, either future or past. So, Pharmacist Ben, I have a question here.
Yes.
And we will start this off as I have a gentleman that I just spoke with this morning. He is 68 years old, 5'7", 195 pounds. He has coronary artery disease.
Okay.
And he has had his gallbladder removed.
Okay.
They're wanting to do surgery because he has calcification in the arteries to the point that they can no longer insert a balloon to open it up.
Okay.
Now,
what to do?
He is on pharmaceuticals for lowering cholesterol, blood pressure, acid reflux, and tremors. A total of 13 pharmaceuticals for those situations.
Okay, hang on a second here. You say 5'9" or 5'7"?
5'7".
190.
195.
He's on 13 pharmaceuticals. Did you say something about tremors?
Yes, tremors is one of the things he's on a pharmaceutical
and you said he
for.
had his gallbladder taken out?
And he has had his gallbladder removed.
And how old is he?
Yes.
And how old is he?
68 years young.
Okay, there's so many things that come to mind here, first of all. Most importantly, when you're seeing a doctor, you've given up your rights. And I can tell you what to do. I can give you some ideas, but I can't really interfere with your de facto contract. You haven't signed a contract, but you, in essence, have an agreement with the doctor that you're going to be doctored. Okay? And we've talked about this before. Doctoring is not a good thing. Doctoring is to commit a fraud. You doctor evidence, you doctor your taxes. When you doctor things, you're committing a fraud. That's not to say his doctor is a bad, I'm not ripping his personal physician, it's the model. Okay, so they poisoned this guy. He's on 13 different drugs. It's even almost impossible to figure out how badly he's poisoned and which way he's poisoned. You don't have a list of the drugs, do you, by any chance?
I did not write down
Okay,
all of
all right,
them.
that's
No,
fine.
I did
That's fine.
not.
13 different drugs, and assuming these are really drugs, sometimes people count nutrients that they might put them on as drugs, but assuming these are really drugs, it's his body is being poisoned to such a degree it's almost impossible to figure out what to do. He doesn't have a gallbladder. First, so all of a sudden now he's got a digestive issue. He's 5'7", 190, which tells us that he's got severe metabolic syndrome. 5'7", 190, unless he's a running back for the Chiefs or Broncos or something, which I doubt. He's dealing with metabolic syndrome issues, which of course tumble out of control into cardiovascular health issues. So the body can turn on a dime. The body is a healing and regenerating system. It can do it. But when you're that far down the rabbit hole, this far down the rabbit hole, you got to work piece by piece, and he's not going to notice dramatic results until a certain amount of time is reached and mitigates the damage. The problem is every drug he takes puts a hole in his boat. So every prescription drug is on 13, and they don't work additively, they work synergistically and exponentially. So 13, it's like 1 + 1 is 2, that's additive. But if 1 + 1 is 5, that's synergistic. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 does not equal 13. If you go to 13, it equals 130 because every drug creates different combinations of problems. So this is what we call a morass. A morass is a ball of yarn that is completely tangled up. Sometimes I have these headphones, these earphones for my iPhone, and you know what I'm talking about. I stick them in the drawer. I don't know how this happens, but I stick them in the drawer, and they're perfectly organized, and day later, 2 days later, I open the drawer, and somehow, I don't know what happens, and I can't figure out the physics of it. That beautifully organized earphone wire is completely tangled, and it takes me 10 minutes to detangle it. I don't know how that happens, but that's the condition this gentleman is in. Now, a lot of people are in this condition. If I could talk to his doctor, I wish I could. I can't, so I can't, I don't want to have to talk behind the doctor's back, tell him how idiotic the situation is, but it is what it is. So what you do, and there's a lot of people like this, is you start where you can start, and that is with the basics, the absolute 100% basics, and that's the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients, the Healthy Start Pack. The problem with this horrible morass, this ball of yarn, this tangled mess that this gentleman is in, is that on top of the major toxicity that he's dealing with, on top of the physiological handicap he's dealing with a cardiovascular problem, with blockages, with a gallbladder being removed, he is starving, literally malnourished. So you got to get nutrients into the system. Now, once he gets nutrients in the system, he's going to feel better, because if your cup is empty, and I've always said this, one of the great gifts of the human body is the more deficient you are, the faster the body absorbs the nutrients. So as soon as he gets some nutrition into his system, he's going to feel better. 2 problems. Number 1, he's going to plateau because his body is in such a corrupted condition. Number 2, his doctor is not going to let him. The doctor is not going to let him do. I can talk to you until the cows come home about how important vitamin C is, and the B complex is, and electrolytes are, and blood sugar stabilizing nutrients are, and the fats are, endlessly, digestive health. But his doctor is not going to let him do this. So you're going against a medical model that looks at me like I'm the bad guy, like I'm the quack, like I'm the crazy person, and the doctor is the savior. And that's the position this gentleman and not just this gentleman, other patients have put themselves in. You are now in the care of a doctor. So I would just ask you this. With the 13 drugs you're on, with the gallbladder that you had removed, I'm not asking you, I'm asking this gentleman, or, hypothetically, with the 13 drugs that you're on, and with the gallbladder that you had removed, and all the doctoring you've had, are you better? Are you healthier? Are you stronger? I mean, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Insane. It's absolutely insane. Now, God love the guy. I'm not, people do what they're trained to do, conditioned to do. And this is what we're conditioned to do. But logic would tell you the doctor's not helping you. He's making it worse. The drugs aren't helping you. They're making it worse. What are we doing, people? So I can tell you what to do. And the good news is when the condition is this deteriorated, the body can really you can make a real difference really quickly, assuming the doctor lets him. I get him on the Healthy Start Pack as soon as possible. The goal here is for the patient to notice results. That's the goal. Then we start adding things. Then we start creating some lifestyle modification. I'm talking to longevity reps here, and I'm talking to patients here, both, or people who are caring for patients. You want the patient to notice results. The good news is he will notice results quickly. He's not going to completely reverse it, but he will notice results because he's probably functionally starving. The bad news is he's going to have a hard time getting his doctor to be complicit or to participate, but sometimes they'll do that. Get them on the Healthy Start Pack. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start to work with digestive support, always. You're going to want to work with blood sugar support, always. And then you're going to probably want to do some detoxification things, some liver kinds of things to help him with all the medication that he's taking. The good news is he can be helped really quickly. The bad news is the doctor probably won't let him. And also, for him to notice significant results, it's going to take a little bit of time. But he can be helped quickly. I get him on the Healthy Start Pack as soon as possible. This is not, from a biochemical perspective, this is not difficult to see what's going on. He's got metabolic syndrome, clearly. 57190 tells you he's got metabolic syndrome. He's got a history of digestive problems. He's had his gallbladder removed, which means he's not going to absorb his fats and fatty vitamins. Gallbladder is part of the digestive system. 57190 is part of the blood sugar system. Can I hear triangle of disease?
Triangle of disease.
This is a classic example of the triangle of disease. The 3 points of bodily breakdown that underlie all health challenges. Where you see a health challenge is not where the health challenge began, any more than the rotten apple on the tree is where the problem, the rotten apple problem began. Yes, the apple is rotten and it's going to taste lousy, but you're not going to fix that rotten apple. You can only cut the apple or kill the apple or poison the apple. You got to get to the soil, and that's the whole strategy here. If you go to a doctor, you're going to get doctored. It's not the doctor's fault. That's what they do. Should I tell the story of the scorpion and the frog again? You know the story, right? Right? And
go ahead and tell the scorpion and the frog. Yes.
The story of the scorpion and the frog. A scorpion and a frog are walking along. They come to a river. And the scorpion says to the frog, hey, I can't swim. You can swim. Let me on your back and we'll swim. You'll take me across the river. And the frog looks up and says, Scorpion, you're crazy. I'm not letting you on my back. You're a scorpion. You're going to bite me. And then I'm going to die. You think I'm stupid? And the scorpion says, don't be ridiculous. If I get on your back and we're in the middle of the river and I bite you, you're going to drown and then I'm going to drown. What's the point of that? You think I'm stupid? And so frog thinks about it. He lets the scorpion on his back. Says, okay, that makes sense. Scorpion gets on his back. They go down, they get in the water. They go to the middle of the river and boom, scorpion bites the frog. And the frog looks up and says, you stupid scorpion, what did you do? You bit me. Now I'm going to drown and you're going to drown. What were you thinking, you stupid scorpion? And the scorpion goes, I'm a scorpion. That's what I do. I'm a doctor. I take out gallbladders. I give drugs. What do you think? You expect me to give you vitamins? I'm a doctor. This is what I do. We go to the doctor. We get his tools. We get the doctor's tools. Does it help? Is this gentleman on the call? Ask him if it helps. But we go back.
He might be watching.
So we go back. Thank you, sir. Can I have another? So we go back for more. And so people understand this is not a knock on individual doctors. They're good people. They're beautiful people. The model is corrupt. The model is antiquated. And the model doesn't help us except for traumas, emergencies. And this is really where medicine excels, is in stitching things back on and repairing things. And this is a very valid position and a very important role, a very important job that they play. But if you start giving them the job of taking care of your metabolism and taking care of your biochemistry, they can't do it any more than a carpenter can fix your car. It's not in their wheelhouse. Now, unless you have a doctor who specializes in research and is a nutritionist and understands all of these other modalities, which is rare, and they're out there. I just had an appointment with a doc who does that. The paradigm is we cut, we radiate, we electrocute, and most of all, we poison the body to make it better. Whether you agree with it or not, that's another discussion for another day. But if you go to a doctor, that's what's going to happen.
And this gentleman is a biochemist, so I hope that he takes a look at
Who is this?
this.
Who's the
And
biochemist? The patient?
the gentleman that we were just discussing.
You're kidding me. The patient's a biochemist?
Yes.
Put him on.
So I told him that we'd have to have we can have a conversation
I'll
with
tell him
you
the whole mechanism.
directly.
If he's a biochemist, we'll walk him through the entire mechanism. He'll understand.
Okay. Fantastic. So we will definitely get the two of you in contact for sure.
Okay.
All right. Next question, Pharmacist Ben. So Miriam wants to know what causes one nostril to always be clogged? Stitches from one nostril to the other.
Stitches or switches? Switches.
Switches from one nostril to the other, and has been this way for years.
Switches, clogs are always, respiratory clogs are always the sign that the body is trying to protect itself. The clogs are either the production or the end result of mucus or vasoconstriction, blood vessels closing up. I'm not sure what's doing it, but you always want to focus on protection. And this is one of the really interesting things about the body. The mechanisms of bodily breakdown are few. There's not a lot of ways the body manifests its the symptoms of disease. There's inflammation, there's congestion, there's clogging, there's hyperproliferation or excess growth of cells. There's not a lot of things, about 4 or 5 things. That's it. And all diseases, what we call diseases, are these end result of these basic bodily breakdowns, like inflammation, like mucus, like hyperproliferation, which means excess growth of cells and tissues, like constriction of blood vessels, or alternatively opening up of blood vessels. These are all the basic things that happen in the body, which is great news because it means there's not a lot of things that can go wrong. It all involves protection. What we call disease is the end result of the body trying to protect itself. You've all heard the term inflammation, obviously, and there's always inflammation is always associated with chronic disease. What is inflammation? And when I say chronic disease, I mean chronic pathology. Like this lady hasn't described a disease necessarily, but she's described a pathology. So all pathology, all bodily breakdown involves inflammation. What is inflammation? A protective response. What does this tell you? That the body is in a protective mode. When we say we're sick, we're diseased, we have a pathology, what we're really saying is we're experiencing the end result of protection. So when you have a protective response that you want to end, what's the logical solution? Figure out what the body's protecting itself from. In the case of mucus, by the way, when we say the body, we mean the blood. When we say the body's protecting itself, we mean something has gotten into the blood. So the question is, when you have mucus, something has gotten into the blood, and we want to figure out what that is. How do things get into the blood? Only two ways.
Ingestion or injection.
Right. So this can happen if she injects. And these days, a lot of people who ordinarily would not have injected have been compelled or forced or convinced or persuaded to inject, and continuously. There's more and more on the way where they're going to be compelled or persuaded or forced to inject. So injection can be a problem, and that can cause this issue, but we're not going to go there. I'm going to assume that's not it. So what's the second way?
Ingestion.
Food. So is this gal on the call?
She is on the call. So
let's ask
Miriam.
her. Let's put her on here so we can talk.
Miriam, do you mind unmuting yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hey, where? I don't see anybody. Is it Mary?
No, you won't see her. You'll just hear her.
Hi, Mary. Mary?
Miriam.
Miriam. Sorry.
Yes.
So Miriam, you have congestion in one nostril. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes, and it's not mucus. It's just
Vasoconstriction.
Yeah, I guess that's what you call
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Vaso means blood vessels or constriction.
Okay.
But you
Okay.
can't breathe.
Right.
What the bottom line is. You're
Right.
stuffed up. Okay. So that means the body is somehow in a protective mode. Now, I'm going to ask you something that I know the answer to, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you have anything going on in your digestive system? Anything percolating in the digestive process? Not because you're a bad person or you're eating the wrong foods or whatever it is something getting into your system that your body doesn't like?
Apparently, I mean, I'm off the 12 bad foods.
Forget
and
the
I'm
bad foods. Go by your
90.
symptom. No. Go by your symptoms.
Um,
Bloating, gas, heartburn, loose stools, diarrhea, cramping, bloating, pain, anything that has to do with digestive health.
no, I don't notice any of that. I've been on the Mighty 90 for many
Doesn't
years.
matter. The
I
Mighty
feel
Nine
great.
doesn't matter. That's
Oh, okay.
irrelevant. That's
Sorry.
irrelevant. No,
Okay.
that's irrelevant. It has to
Okay.
do with what's getting into the blood.
Okay.
Okay. So something is getting into your system that your body doesn't like.
Mm,
And you're not injecting, obviously.
no.
So then it has to be something from food. Now, it's a little tricky in the sense that I'm guessing, I can't see you, but I'm guessing by your voice, you're in 40s probably, right? 30s,
I'm
40s.
67.
Oh, good for you, 67. Well, then it's almost impossible not to have some kind of digestive issues at 67. But if you have a problem, a digestive problem for a long period of time, you're not going to notice it. It's going to go under the radar. The brain is very interesting. It turns down the dial on things that happen all the time. If something happens once in a while, the brain notices it, but when something happens chronically, the dial gets turned down. Make sense? You follow me?
Yes, yes.
So you have to observe closely. And here's a couple tricks for you. Number one, when does this condition flare, or does it happen is it steady? Is it all the time?
Steady, steady.
Okay, good. So that means something you're doing all the time. Okay. So what you can do is stop eating if you can do this. It's not, easier said than done, but if you can, stop eating for a day or two and see if the condition resolves.
Okay.
Okay. And that'll be a clue. What we're doing is we're playing a detective game. This is called forensics, except it's biological forensics instead of criminal forensics. Have you heard the term forensics?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is like biological forensics. We're testing, we're exploring. We're starting with a hypothesis, and that hypothesis is something is getting into your blood, and your body is defending itself. And this is our hypothesis. And so now we're going to try to prove the hypothesis by seeing what's getting into, if there's anything getting into the blood that's triggering a defensive response. Now you can do it, you can hack into it by looking for digestive symptoms. Now, but they're hard to find sometimes and you don't see them, so we can't do it that way. So the next thing we can do is we can look for the actual problem and see if it gets worse, if it flares, if it gets worse. If it flares, that gives you real-time information. Oh, I just did something. In your case, it doesn't flare. In your case, it's chronic, which means something's happening all the time. So the next step then is to stop. Put the brakes on whatever you're doing, and that means fasting for a day or two, and then reintroduce foods and see what happens. I'm guessing you're going to notice that a certain food is going to, you'll notice that you're going to eat something and you'll notice that you get congested, or not congested, but clogged up again. Now, another hack into the system is the skin, because things manifest on the skin sometimes when the immune system is activated or the inflammatory system is activated. So if you have itching or rashes, that's another clue that you can look for. Has anything like that? Have you noticed anything like that? Itching, rashes, redness in the face, anything along those lines?
I used to have rosacea.
Well, bingo right there. Okay, now when we say used to, what does that mean, used to?
I think it went away when I stopped eating gluten.
Okay, so you have a history of digestive issues.
Yes, yes.
Well, hello, that's what I'm just saying, and I didn't say that, I'm not saying that because to make you wrong in any way, but we kind of don't notice things. Right? So you have a history of digestive issues, which is not a surprise to me because I figured they'd be there. There's something else going on. And as far as gluten goes, I'm glad you brought that up. Gluten is one of 1,000 different problems in flour and grains and seeds. So when we go gluten-free or when we eat gluten-free, we're not out of the woods. Gluten gets the press. Gluten is like, it's like the poster child. It's what we talk about. But there's 1,000 other molecules that can create those kinds of the gluten-like disturbances at the level of the intestine. And if you have a history of gluten intolerance, it's very likely you have other intolerances as well. Make sense, Miriam?
Yes, yes.
Again, this is starting with a hypothesis. Another word for hypothesis is a first principle. Whenever you're trying to accomplish a goal in science, you start off with a working hypothesis, a working theory, and then you test it. You got to start off somewhere. This is called the scientific method. The scientific method, and this should always be about science in the sense that we're progressing in a logical, systematic fashion, not in a superstitious fashion, not in a meme fashion, or not in a belief fashion, but a scientific fashion. You start off with a hypothesis, and then you test the hypothesis. Our hypothesis is your condition is an immune inflammatory condition. And then that's the hypothesis. But what's a fact is immune and inflammation means an attack, defensive response. So now we test the theory. We work with food. The fact that you have a history of a food or digestive issue, that lends itself to proving our hypothesis. It's not 100% proof, but it leads to that belief. You follow what I'm saying? That you have a history that way. So I'm working with foods. Now, once you figure out the foods that are triggering your issues, and if you have rosacea, it's very likely that you have other skin issues that you may not be noticing, and it's good to find them. Then we're going to start to give you some digestive support supplements, and Longevity has some awesome digestive support supplements. The next thing to recognize is that when you have an intestinal problem, because nutrients are absorbed in the intestine, not only do you end up with toxicity issues, but now you end up functionally malnourished because you're going to have the intestine is going to be less able to absorb nutrients. Once you have inflammation in the intestine, swelling, blockages in the intestine. Does that make sense, Miriam?
Yes.
So we're going to have to progress further after we start working this way. But first and foremost, we want to know what's going on that's triggering this immune response. Not necessarily because of the breathing, but because if you have inflammation here, you very likely have it in other places as well. Follow?
Yes, I see.
This is much more than just taking care of your nostrils. This is about taking care of the system to save you from further issues down the road.
That makes sense.
Okay, good. So stay in touch with us. I'd love to hear what happens. And get my number from Rebecca, or you can send an email or come on the next call next week.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, Miriam. Great job, Ben. Now we have about 8 questions. So let's go to the next question. And Colleen, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Yes, I actually have 2 questions real quick, if I
Yes.
could.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a 5-year-old boy who they're finding that the eyes at times are not always looking in the same direction. And they were told that he is farsighted and it's the eyes trying to correct themselves when the information's not computing, I guess.
Okay. That sounds like a mechanical issue with the eyes and the muscles. Does he have any other symptoms? Anything else that's not
No.
eye related? That's the only issue?
Not that we're aware of.
Now, you want to find them. I'm not saying make them
Okay.
up, but you want to find them. And this is another fundamental point in this whole diagnostic healing process is it's always in our interest to find as many symptoms as possible. If you
Sure.
have, and I know I've said this before, but repetition is reinforcement. Bob Ross, remember Bob Ross?
Yes.
All right. Bob Ross was so cool. He'd have this big white canvas and he put a dot in the middle and you go, okay, great. You put another dot and all of a sudden, wait a minute, that looks like something. And then a third dot and all of a sudden a river comes out. And then a fourth dot and you see a tree. And a fifth dot and you see a sun. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Sure.
as you're putting these points on the canvas, a picture's starting to emerge. If you have one point on the canvas, it tells you nothing. It's useless
Okay.
from a healing perspective. So right now we got a point. But if we get another point, oh yeah, he does bloat when he eats certain foods. Oh yeah, he does have a chronic skin. I'm making this up. I'm not telling you this.
Sure. Sure.
Oh yeah, he has rashes. Oh yeah, he gets confused easily. You start to see a picture starting to emerge. And that's why it's always in our interest to find symptoms. And it's a little tricky, as I was saying to Miriam, because the dial gets turned down when things happen all the time, which makes it a little harder. But the more symptoms you have, the more data points you have, the clearer the picture will become. It's about data.
Okay.
So you're looking for data points, sample points. Right now, with just an eye issue, I can tell you that it could be the muscle. It might be a weak muscle, and I can't tell you why that is until I see some other things happening. But at this point, it's not a nutritional issue. It's a muscular issue, and something the muscles in the eye are weak, which are unfortunately is not uncommon. Now, if I could see some other points, digestive, weight, ADD, sugar cravings, anything you can come up with, that will help form a picture. At this point, there's really no picture, so there's nothing I can really tell you. except for there are eye exercises that you can do, and there are eye therapists who do eye exercise. I'm not sure if they do on 5-year-old kids, but they do
Sure.
eye exercises that can strengthen the muscle, and that might be something you want to consider. If there's any inflammatory issues that are weakening the muscle, I need to hear some other symptoms.
I do know that there's excessive hunger, but we thought that was a growing boy kind of situation.
But boy, I wouldn't necessarily attribute that to being a symptom. He's 5, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't attribute that necessarily to being a symptom. Now, if he eats and complains about anything, that is. So,
Okay.
so keep your eye, be vigilant to that. At this point, it becomes,
Sure.
all I can tell you is it's a muscular issue and eye exercises. But other than that, I can't really tell you until I have some other symptoms.
Fair enough. Okay. The other one I had is a 39-year-old woman who was diagnosed with, well, they're switching between, I'm going to say this wrong, trigeminal neuralgia or TMJ.
Trigeminal neuralgia, yes, TMJ.
Thank you.
Trigeminal neuralgia or transmandibular TMJ. The TMJ is trigeminal neuralgia is just a pain issue. The trigeminal nerve is one of your cranial nerves, and trigeminal neuralgia is a pain that results from inflammation. TMJ is a jaw issue that involves grinding of the teeth, and that's also pretty miserable. Both of them both of them are inflammatory, and both of them you're going to want to look for other symptoms. Those again, that's just one symptom. That's not telling me what's happening in the biochemistry. However, it is telling me there's something inflammatory, especially the trigeminal issue, the neuralgia, the pain to the trigeminal nerve. So again, this is not complicated, and I don't want anybody to think this is just saying the same thing over and over again. This is the only things that really go wrong in the body is attack. So this is a 39-year-old person. Nobody just has trigeminal neuralgia. There has to be something underneath. So you want to get some other symptoms. Always food is our triangle disease model. Always food is going to be the first culprit, and digestive health, I should say, food and digestive health, and then metabolic syndrome. Is she on any medication, by the way?
They are giving her something for the pain, but I don't remember what she called it.
Any other medication aside from for the trigeminal neuralgia?
No.
Okay. So look for what you want to do, and this is for all longevity distributors as well as people who are caretakers. You want to look for symptoms that are independent of the ones she's complaining about. The ones she's complaining about are the ones she notices. Obviously, if you have trigeminal neuralgia, you're going to feel it. You're going to notice it. And if you have TMJ, you're going to notice that as well. But look for other symptoms. Trigeminal neuralgia is secondary to inflammation, which means attack. TMJ is the end result of elevated stress hormones. And that keeps you grinding your teeth at night. Elevated stress hormones. So stress hormones themselves, cortisol specifically, can be the end result of some kind of physical attack. Cortisol is an anti-inflammatory, and it's one of the ways the body quenches inflammation. So when you have elevated cortisol, oftentimes that's following some kind of inflammatory attack. Again, something's getting into the system that shouldn't be in the system. So I would be asking questions about digestive health, intestinal health. As I said earlier, skin issues sometimes are involved. Flare-ups with the trigeminal neuralgia. Flare-ups are another major clue. When you get a flare-up, that tells you what you did in real time. You know what I mean by flare-up?
Yes.
Condition spikes. Trigeminal neuralgia usually happens at night, so that's a little bit more difficult. But I'm sorry, TMJ happens at night, but trigeminal neuralgia, that might spike. She may get pain, more pain in the middle of the day, kind of thing. What did you just do? What did you do an hour before? Keep track of foods. The body is a closed system, like a circle, and it runs smoothly. In physics, there's a physics law that says when a system is closed, everything stays the same inside. I'm paraphrasing it here. But once there's portals into that closed system, doorways, openings into that closed system, that's where the internal milieu can become disturbed. And that's why food and injection are so important, because that's how the internal milieu becomes disturbed. Something's getting into the system, i.e. the blood. And so I'd be doing, again, the whole thing that we just talked about with Miriam is look for other symptoms, particularly digestive symptoms. As far as the pain, strictly if the pain goes, the molecules of inflammation and anti-inflammation. The molecules that control inflammation, anti-inflammation are essential fatty acids, your ultimate EFAs. So those can go a long way towards improving all inflammatory issues. You still have to take care of the attack, the cause, but the inflammation can be regulated with the ultimate EFAs. In fact, fats in general are the control points, the regulators of the inflammatory system. They're the mediators of inflammation. And because of, number one, we eat all the wrong kinds of fats. We're obsessed with the wrong kinds of fats in this country. You know, I just saw, there's actually a franchise that sells chicken strips. I just saw this, Cane's. All they sell is chicken strips. All they sell is these little fried pieces of something with bread and deep fried. That's their whole thing. That's the extent that we are obsessed with these kinds of foods. So fats regulate and control and mediate the inflammatory process. If you're eating the wrong kinds of fats, and this is why Doc's been on the warpath for seed oils for so long, and now everybody's catching on to that, or you have any problems with the gallbladder or the liver or the intestine, all of those can compound issues with inflammation, but you can counteract some of those with the ultimate EFAs. Also, I don't know, do we still have the Hemp FX?
We do have some of the Hemp FX line.
The Hemp FX is anti-inflammatory as well. And then you might want to experiment with the ultimate enzymes if you do see a digestive health issue, because the ultimate enzymes, number one, can help you with fat absorption, but number two, taken on an empty stomach, they have anti-inflammatory properties that may help with the trigeminal neuralgia.
Perfect.
Okay.
Before I go real quick, can you just tell me is there any reason why you would not give one of the following to children? I'm looking at the collagen, the herbal rainforest, and any of the protein shakes.
Is there a reason why I would not?
Yeah.
No reason why I would not. They can definitely
They're good for.
Oh yeah, the protein shake's great for kids, the TMR, and we should send our prayers out to Stan, by the way, all of us. Stan Dennis is in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he has a great product called TMR. Kids, it's awesome for kids. It's super tasty. Yes, all the protein products are great for kids. And then there's no reason why they can't take the herbal rainforest. I wouldn't give them the full dose. It might cause a little bit of cramping or loose stools, but yeah, they can definitely take that.
And the collagen's okay as well?
Heck yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Colleen. And Ben, we have Nancy asking a question.
Nancy, is that Nancy, my friend Nancy? Hi, Nancy.
I'm not quite sure if it's your friend Nancy, but we can see if she can unmute. I will go ahead and if one of my co-hosts can ask her to unmute. What she has written is, my husband has foamy or bubbly urine.
Yeah.
First, he started with fluid in his feet. My son has a little foam. It seems to have started after taking 90 for Life in November.
What does the son say again about the son?
It says that he has little foam.
Little foam?
I don't know if that's less foam than he used to have or more foam. I don't.
I'm a little.
Can you hear me, Nancy?
I heard this. The husband had foamy urine.
Yes, Nancy.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Okay.
Thanks for joining.
All right. So Marty's my husband.
Hi.
Now he's got a lot of foamy urine.
Okay.
And my son said that he started to have some too.
How old's your son?
He's only 30.
Okay. So foamy urine can be caused from a whole bunch of things, but the most likely suspect, he's not, are either of them on medication, by the way?
No.
Okay. So this is a kidney issue. All right. The kidneys filter the blood, and protein is not supposed to come out in the urine. Protein is foamy. Protein can cause foam. So what that's telling me is that there's excess protein in the urine, which indicates that there's a kidney problem. Now, this is not unusual, unless he has a UTI, which this is chronic, right? This is not just, this doesn't just have one. Does he have a history? Does he have kidney stones or a history of kidney stones?
No.
Okay.
And they don't take medicine or do any of that.
So then I'm looking, it sounds to me like there's something going on with the kidneys. For the husband, who's I imagine is probably in his 60s or 70s, correct?
65.
Okay, for the husband, That could be an indicator of blood sugar issues, as Rebecca can tell you. It's part of metabolic syndrome. That's the most likely suspect when there's a kidney issue. Did they check his kidneys?
Well, he's really a miracle.
How so?
I know that it had showed that maybe he had leukemia, but we've gone to the Lord and we went to the holistic health counselors and got him on a whole bunch of good stuff, and he's improved so much.
He
But
may have something going on in the kidneys, especially if he has a history of leukemia. So
well,
that's
no, he doesn't. No, his white cells were 500,000. But we've had prayer and we believe that a lot of that's gone because he had some growth on his body and they just went away when
well,
we
that's all
knew
good.
we spoke
That's
in
all-
Jesus' name. But he still has that foamy.
Kidneys. It's a kidney issue. Now, it may
So
get better. If it gets better, that's a good thing. It may get better. If it doesn't, it could be kidney damage. So, but that's a kidney issue. The kidney is supposed to filter the blood, the protein. In other words, the protein's not supposed to come out in the urine. Every once in a while, it can. But if it's chronic like that, that means the kidneys are not doing their work. And the
how
kidneys,
do we fix the kidneys?
blood
Is
sugar.
it with that daily?
Yes, it's with the healthy blood sugar pack. The most
And
likely cause of kidney, and again, remember, like we were just talking to Miriam and also to forgot the other gal's name. We need multiple symptoms here. Leukemia tells me there's some immune stuff going on. Protein in the urine tells me there's some kidney damage, but I need some more data. So your husband's 65. What's his height to weight?
he's thin. He's always been thin.
And then what's his any histories, any cardiovascular history or blood pressure history or anything like that?
No, I
Any
mean he's not even gone to a doctor since
and
we
there's
got married.
okay, and there's no medication, and he's not on any medication.
No
Right?
medicine.
All right. Well, the leukemia tells me that there's something there's some kind of cancer is caused by a disturbance in how cells are doing their business, which again is inflammatory. So something is getting into his body that he's not recognizing as a problem, and that could also be causing the kidney issues. The major cause of kidney damage is metabolic syndrome, which is blood sugar. That's the major reason why the kidneys become distressed. The fact that he has had the leukemia also tells me there might be some metabolic issues. Things are being revved up. The system is being revved up. Think of what cancer is. It's like things moving really fast. And that usually implies metabolic syndrome. So I'd be focusing on blood sugar if I was him. Healthy blood sugar pack, ketogenic diet, low calorie. Don't worry about him being too skinny. Sometimes the doctors will say if you're skinny, you don't want to go low calorie. The problem is not, he doesn't want calories, he wants nutrients. So focus on nutrient density more than calories. Things like fish, eggs, high protein foods, organ meats, that kind of thing. And then the healthy blood sugar pack. I'd be treating this as a blood sugar issue.
Okay.
And you might want to get a glucose meter too. Sometimes that helps.
Okay.
Right?
So Nancy, if I recall right, your husband does have a history of working in a facility that deals with chemicals.
Right. Yeah, he's been
Okay.
doing that since he was 19.
Okay, well, kidney damage, that can also cause kidney damage. The kidneys filter the blood. If there's toxicity in the blood, which can lead to leukemia, by the way, that can also stress the kidneys. So if he does have a history, the major reason why you get kidney damage is sugar, but toxicity can do it, poisoning can do it too, because the kidneys filter the blood. The kidneys are made up of really, I don't even know, thousands of miles of blood vessels, tiny little blood vessels that are wrapped around very, very tightly. And as the blood flows through, this is how the filtering mechanism works. The bad stuff goes through the capillaries and the good stuff stays inside. That's what's supposed to happen. For him, the fact that there's protein in the urine tells me those blood vessels are damaged somehow. Usually sugar is the culprit, but now that Becca's saying that there's some toxicity involved, that can also do it, and that can also lead to leukemia. Now, if he's still exposed to toxins, then obviously that's going to be a problem. But if he stopped being exposed to toxins, then he wants to start clearing out the toxicity from his body, and there's lots of ways to do that. One of the best detox supplements anybody could ever take are plant-derived minerals. That's one of the hidden benefits of plant-derived minerals is they're very detoxifying. The second, some other, I almost said second, but the other detoxifying nutrients include what are called chelating substances. Chelation is like a magnetic attraction to, of poisons. Poisons are magnetically attracted out of the blood. And that's another strategy you can use. The ultimate selenium, the ultimate MSM, those are both chelating agents. And then there's a product called, what's the telomere product? Immortalium, that has something in it called NAC, or N-acetylcysteine, and that also has chelating properties. And then fucoidin, the Fucoid Z, that also has chelating properties. In fact, now that I think about it, the Fucoid Z would be great for him. Fucoid Z is a general, good for everything, but it also has great detoxification properties. And then for general detox, Dr. Arias's liver cleanse is another thing that you want to do. And whether or not these are strategies that are directly going to help the kidneys, these are strategies that are going to help him in general and improve his longevity. And all of this goes with the Healthy Start Pack, of course.
And also, I think the Ultimate Daily Classic, isn't that what Dr. Wallach
I like the
said?
Beyond Tangy Tangerine better, but yeah, the Ultimate Daily Classic has the plant-derived minerals in it.
No, maybe I'm saying the wrong thing. Dr. Wallach had said something about the kidneys getting clogged up inside, and I think it's the Daily Classic that helps. It's a lot of B vitamins. My son takes those.
The B vitamins are great, but I would do the Beyond Tangy Tangerine for that. Rebecca, do you have an idea?
Yeah, so the Ultimate Daily Classic had the nattokinase in it.
The
And
nattokinase
that's why,
is great. Yeah, that's the is that what Doc was thinking?
so that's what Doc was thinking. But they did recently take that out. So what would be your recommendation in place of that? Nightly essence at night?
Yeah, nightly essence. And by the way, nightly essence has chelating properties also, and then you get the nattokinase too. Nattokinase is a very interesting enzyme that is like a roto-rooter for the vascular system, for the blood. Nattokinase.
And how about the niacin plus, as it has it in there as well?
Niacin plus is good for opening things up, for opening up blood vessels. That might help there. Niacin is always great. Also, it's very important for blood sugar if you go the blood sugar route. Is there nattokinase in the niacin plus?
There is, yes.
Very cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Nancy. And just keep going on the program he's on, plus what Ben has added here. If there was any differences.
Well, he still has to detail cars. Yeah,
Oh, is that what he's doing, is detailing cars?
Right now.
After he's done detailing cars, have him do, right when he's done with the chemicals, the detailing chemicals, every night when he comes home from the detailing chemicals, he should be doing anything you do to detoxify. And that we have a ton of products for that, including, as I mentioned, all the chelating, the ultimate selenium and the ultimate, the MSM, ultimate MSM, CFX. Vitamin C is a great chelating agent. He should probably be doing Beyond Tangy Tangerine while he's detailing his cars. And then anything with plant-derived minerals is going to have detoxification benefits as well. There's so many different ways you can detox the body. Let me think of some other things that have some.
How about protective wear, like wearing gloves?
Yeah,
Is he wearing gloves, Nancy?
Wearing a mask too. I'm sure he's wearing a mask also.
No,
he's not.
Because it's in an open area. He does spray the tires with acid.
Oh my gosh, that poor guy. You know, he's probably toxed out with all that stuff. I didn't realize that. He should be wearing a mask, like at least a small mask, like one of those COVID masks.
Oh, really? Those little blue masks?
They're not great, but he should be protecting himself a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Nancy, for
stay in touch.
Thank you. All right, Pharmacist Ben, lots going on there. Let's go over to Ruth Ellen, who's bringing in a question from
Rumble.
our audience.
Hello, thank you. This is from Wyoming Annie from Rumble, and she would like to know about what causes neuropathy, and would be for a healthy man who's 78 with wooden feeling legs. He eats none of the bad foods, is taking longevity products, Tangy Tangerine, etc. His only meds are for allergies. He's 5'10". He weighs 153 pounds.
Okay, so lots going on here.
Yeah.
First of all, you can't have neuropathy in a healthy body. So forget that, okay? And I'm not saying that to make him wrong or make you, the questioner, wrong, but we just have to recognize what we're dealing with here. You can't get from point A to point B unless you know where you're at point A. You can't go to New York from Denver if you don't know that you're in Denver. You're not going to be able to get to New York. You got to know where you're starting so you can know where you're getting to. So if you think you're healthy but you have neuropathy, you can't do anything. So I'm not saying this to make anybody wrong or to be attacking in any way, but we got to know what we got. Neuropathy is nerve pathology. If you had neuropathy, you got a pathology. You can't have a pathology and be healthy at the same time. So neuropathy means neurological pathology. There's a breakdown. There's something going wrong with the neurology, and you're feeling the pain. The most common cause of neuropathy. Remember, we're always backtracking to the triangle here. The most common cause of neuropathy, Rebecca will tell you, is metabolic syndrome. It goes hand in hand with metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome being dysglycemia and insulin resistance, blood sugar problems. So Wyoming Annie, neuropathy should always be considered as a sign of what I call dysglycemia. Dysglycemia. Dys means messed up. Glyce means sugar. Emia means in the blood. Disrupted or dysfunctional, sugar in the blood, messed up blood sugar. Always. That's the major cause of neuropathy. Now, it can be caused by trauma. If you have some kind of wound or you have some kind of surgical procedure, those can do it. But the most common cause is peripheral neuropathy. Is dysglycemia. And the fact that he's 78 makes it all that much more likely. It's impossible to live the standard American lifestyle and eat the standard American diet and not have dysglycemia at the age of 78, especially if you have neuropathy. You want to hear an interesting story? The very first vitamin that was discovered in the late 1800s, in the 1800s, they really went crazy with nutrition. In fact, it started in the beginning of the 1800s. That's when they really started to explore nutrition. They wanted to figure out how can we use nutrition. Believe it or not, this was in the French Revolution, and the French scientists were the original biochemists and nutritional chemists. And after the French Revolution was all about elevating the common man, using science and using technology of the time to try to elevate the common man away from the kings. And so they got this idea in the French Revolution, let's use good, healthy living to take care of health. Instead of superstition, and instead of doctors, we'll use good health. And they started studying nutrition. And one of the first things they did was they started to study what was in foods. The first thing they noticed was protein, fats, and carbohydrates. That was the most obvious thing. But then they started to see that there were foods that had protein, fats, and carbohydrates in them that were making people healthier or not healthier, even though they had the same amount of protein, fats, and carbohydrates in them. The two kinds of foods. And they said, what's the difference? Why are some foods making you healthy and some foods not making you healthy, even though the protein, fats, and carbohydrates are the same in both foods? And that's when they got the idea that maybe there's something they're not noticing in foods. And this all came to a head in the Philippines when it was noticed that people who ate a certain type of bread that was exactly the same as other types of bread, except for it was made with white flour versus brown flour, would get peripheral neuropathy. And they said, oh my gosh, there's something in this white bread, even though the white bread has the same protein, same fat, same carbohydrates as the dark bread. They said there's something in the dark bread that is keeping people from getting this disease that people who eat the white bread are getting, which is the peripheral neuropathy. And they started to explore and they did all their experiments, and that's when they came up with the very first vitamin, which was a revolution in nutrition, because for the first time, it was like there's these invisible compounds that aren't protein, fats, and carbohydrates that are in bread and foods. And this was revolutionary. Well, this is the first vitamin that was discovered, and was discovered when it was noticed that when people ate the foods that had this vitamin in it, their peripheral neuropathy went away. So this is, to this day, one of the most important nutrients you could ever take for peripheral neuropathy. And no surprise, it's also one of the most important nutrients you could take for your blood sugar, because blood sugar and peripheral neuropathy go hand in hand. And that is vitamin B1. They call it B1 because it was the first, and it is in high concentrations in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And that's one of the best things about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is this high concentrations of B1. Another important nutrient for, and really all the blood sugar nutrients, the healthy blood sugar pack is how you treat peripheral neuropathies. And then also magnesium is very important for peripheral neuropathies, also because it helps you with your blood sugar. And so the OsteoMag, I would be using the OsteoMag as well. And then protein can be helpful, especially certain amino acids like glutamine, and that's in the TMR shake. I'd be using that as well. Now, you did say, and I'm trying to remember, you said there was one other thing. Did you say allergies?
Yes.
Okay, so allergies, I assume you mean respiratory allergies, right? Or does it say?
It doesn't say, it just says that's
So
the only
respiratory, I'm
medication
going
you
to assume
take.
it's respiratory allergies. Respiratory allergies are typically associated with other allergies, food allergies, which are intestinal, and the immune system lives in the respiratory tract, but largely in the intestine. So when you have a respiratory allergy, that also implies an intestinal allergy, and I would be doing all the food stuff too. So healthy blood sugar pack, OsteoMag, wouldn't hurt to throw in the Fucoid Z as well, and then also look for specific foods and eliminate the immune load from foods, and also it probably wouldn't hurt to do some digestive support, things like I-26, the Nightly Essence, and the Daily Digest, etc.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, Pharmacist Ben, we're at the top of the hour.
God
You have a
bless
hard
everybody.
stop?
I have a hard
All
stop.
right.
Good to
I
see
do as
everybody.
well.
God bless you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
thank you, Ben, for joining us here on Daily with Doc, Pharmacist Fridays. You are awesome. Lots of great information shared in today's programming. We did not get to all the questions, so let's do another Q&A
Sweet.
the next time you are on.
I'll be gone. Actually, next week. What is today? The 7th? Okay, I'll be here next week, but then gone the week after.
All right, sounds good. So join us again, everybody. And if we did not get to your questions today and you would like to get a question answered, please email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's questions@dailywithdoc.com. I could not do this program without my amazing co-hosts. We've got Ruth Ellen Sanchez, who is my executive production manager, helping to get all of the stream put together and the graphics that you see out on all the different platforms. So thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for putting that all together and getting that pushed out, which we have AJ, who's not on the screen yet, but he is the one that sets up the ability to be able to get us on all of those different platforms, including the ones that are automatic and the ones that he manually loads. So thank you so much, AJ, for all that you do behind the scenes. We have Albert, who is here letting people in the wee hours of his morning, joining us from South Africa. Thank you so much, Albert, for being here. And we have Marilyn, folks. If you're here live with us, I sure hope that you had that chat open, as she does an amazing job doing the dictation, putting the question and the solutions into the chat. So if you are out watching us on any platform and you would like to join us live, please go to our website, sign up for the newsletter so that you do get a notification of when we are going live, or go to YouTube, Rumble, make sure that you're following us, subscribe to our channel so that you get those notifications, and make sure that the notification is turned on. And most of all, folks, share this with somebody that you know and care about. We covered a lot of ground, different things that are occurring that are really affecting individuals around the world. Please share this information, this program with them. And folks, if you're on Rumble or you've never heard of Rumble, look Rumble up, rumble.com, and then do a search for critical health news, or you can do a search on Daily with Doc and Becca. Make sure you subscribe and follow on those channels, especially on Rumble, as we're so close to being able to do a couple extra live functions within Rumble. So we need your help. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much for being here with us and watching. Remember, we are a resource for an amazing community. So if somebody referred you to this program, get back with them. Tell them thank you, and they are your point of contact for questions on what you can do to get the products that we have found to be the solution to so many different poor health conditions. Have a fantastic day. We will see you next week, Thursday and Friday, as of right now. So DailywithDoc.com, sign up for the newsletter. If you've never spoken to anybody before, we do have a store there. We also have a call team to help you, if you've never ordered or never spoken with anybody, to help you find the best solutions specific to you and your health concerns. 855-949-3377. And we do have a store for those that want to do it themselves on our website, DailywithDoc.com. If you already have a preferred customer number, you can sign in and place your order through the website as well. My name is Becca Dukes, honored to be the hostess of this program. Also, the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health. If you would like more information about becoming a certified holistic health coach, go to coach.dailywithdoc.com for more information. Folks, have a fantastic day. Thank you for all of the kind words and comments that are coming in. Thank you, Patty. That's so sweet. And most of all, have a fantastic weekend, knowing that there is hope when other solutions have failed. Until next time, bye for now. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health.